Oh, there you are. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. So, thanks so much for taking the time to speak with me about this.
That's no problem.
Okay, so I guess to get things started, tell us a bit about yourself, Ian. How'd you get into theatre?
Well, I've been in the theatre, I suppose, now for nearly, oh gosh, nearly 50 years, I suppose. But I, uh, I actually went to building college first, actually, in Glasgow.
Oh,
I was going to train as a surveyor, really. But it was, I only did a couple of years of that. I didn't really enjoy it. And my amateur dramatics was taking over a bit from my work. So I decided I'd like to go to drama school. And so I applied for drama school in Glasgow. I didn't really know much about drama schools or anything. I didn't know there was any other ones anyway. So,
yeah,
and I didn't realize how difficult it was to get in, but I got in anyway. 75, yeah, I started drama school.
that's cool.
No, 72, 72, I started drama
Right,
school.
right. So, in 2002, you got involved with Thomas the Tank Engine live arena tour.
Yeah.
Um, how did that come about? How'd you get involved with that?
Well, I had been doing Tweenies.
Yeah,
I was the producer of Tweenies, and Tweenies went on air at the end of '99, and we decided in 2000, I think it was 2000 or 2001, we decided to do an arena show of the Tweenies, a
yeah,
tour, and they wanted to, the BBC wanted to do theatre tours, but we decided we wanted to do arena. We wanted to go much bigger, so they got someone on board. Who produced Big Shows and who worked for the with the BBC quite a lot, and he got the rights for Thomas. Well, we did the Tweenies tour together and all the rest of it. So
yeah,
I'd worked with them on all that, and he got the rights for Thomas and asked if Will and I would write it. Will Went
yeah,
Brenton and I, and that if I would direct it. So it was there was a huge budget, a
yeah,
huge budget. Yeah, because and they decided to get the BBC department, one of the departments of the BBC to build the engines,
yeah,
so because it was all done in conjunction with the BBC. So we it was a matter of just trying to develop it and trying to develop how we're going to do the engines. Whether I mean, they were going to have to be big enough for people to go in. They're going to have to be able to move on their own. They're going to have tracks, and they're going to have to have smoke coming out of them. And I wanted the faces to move as well, but they wouldn't let me do that. So
yeah,
the Thomas people who had the rights to Thomas wouldn't let me move the faces as they
yeah,
spoke, and which they regretted in the end when they saw the production. They said, "Oh, I wish we had got the faces to move." I said,
yeah,
"Yeah, you wouldn't let me." So it was. I must say, I think it was. I think it's one of the best projects I've ever done. I really, really, really loved it, and it looked amazing.
oh yeah, absolutely. It's really impressive how you managed to like get a full railway built on the stage.
Yeah, I mean, we used to, at the end of each show, to begin with, we used to bring all the engines out and leave them because it was surrounded by a picket fence,
Yeah,
and just leave as everybody left the arena. We had to stop doing that. We couldn't get we couldn't get the dads and the kids to leave the arena. They were there, standing there, looking at the engines, and they thought it was absolutely amazing. So we had to stop. We had to
yeah,
stop bringing them out at the end because we couldn't get people out of the arena for the next show, for people to come in. So, but it was just it was such a huge thing to put together and to make work.
yeah,
With all the tracks and everything. That, but we managed to do it in the end. It was we set it up at Elstree Film Studios, one of the big studios up at Elstree. That's where we were based. For the kind of the tryout and for the press launch and things like that. then once we had a few little teething problems, but once we sorted that out, then we went on tour. We just went on tour to the arenas with it. It was a massive show,
Yeah.
absolutely massive. A lot of trucks.
Yes. Would you mind going into any of the little teethings that happened during rehearsals and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean it was because the tracks were all there and they were going in and out of the tunnels all the time and
Yeah.
in and out of the sheds, of course, and things like that. It was it was quite tricky because the drivers had to be very careful, you know. Uh, and during during the when we had it set up at Elstree for the press,
Yeah.
and we were trying it all, and we did it all. We did a scene from it. Percy ran into Thomas.
Oh yeah. There's a picture of that online.
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
Percy. I think Percy ran into Thomas,
Yeah.
and oh my God, it was just. I remember at a time it was it seemed such a big problem, but I mean it didn't. It turned out to be fine. It never ever happened again. So
Yeah.
yeah, there were a lot. I mean, it was just really there were so many people working together, uh, but separately, as it were. So they all had to be aware of. And one of the biggest problems was that once it went out through the tunnel, once the train went out through the tunnel, because there was no rails.
Yeah.
There was just arena at the back, and so all the trains had to be manoeuvred back round again so they could come back in through the tunnel and join the tracks again. So it was quite a big. Oh, sorry, there's my phone. Hold on, Kobe. Sorry.
Oh, good.
Hello. Oh, I don't know who that is. So it was the lads who worked backstage, who were basically just lads who were worked with us on the arena tour. They had to be on the ball the whole time, making sure that that everything, that the trains were ready to come back on stage, come back in the right order and things. And of course, when you had Thomas going round, plus you had the two carriages, like Clarabelle and it was quite a long. It was quite long, and
Yeah.
Thomas was James was quite a big engine as
Oh
well.
yeah.
So it was really really tricky for everybody, but everybody got into the way of it, and of course we had the helicopter in one of them.
Yeah. Harold.
Yeah, we had Harold Helicopter who
Yeah.
dropped in, and so it was logistically it was quite a tricky show to do, but
Yeah.
so satisfying, and everybody loved it. I don't think people could believe it when James came out for the first time, because there's no trains on stage, and the show started and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And when James came out for the first time, it just looked fantastic,
Yeah.
that amazing big train, and everybody was just blown away by it. It was fantastic, it really was.
Mm. What was it like touring the Big Life tour around the country?
Yeah, I mean, expensive. I think we only ever did two different shows. We did
Yeah.
two shows, I think, two tours, and it was expensive for everybody. It was a big show to tour, but filled the arenas with everybody. I mean, it was very popular. And if you go and see Thomas shows now, they're very very small kind of theatre type
Yeah.
shows. But and it was it was each arena had its own individual problems, really, as it were, and which we had to. But it took a while to set the whole thing up, of course. And I mean, I had a production manager called Nigel Mosley, who was
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic. I mean, he was just so good, and my team was so reliable and so good. That they got into the way of real, because all the tracks had to be lifted, and they were sat on various things. It was all. It was like putting a massive train track together
Yeah.
each time we went to an arena, and building the sheds and the tunnels and everything. It was a massive job, and it took it took us like more than a day to get into the arenas, So all that's and then to do the shows afterwards, and it was an expensive thing for the producers, I suppose,
Yeah.
to do.
Are there plans of doing the Big Live tour past 2003, the first show?
For Thomas,
Yeah,
they
the first
decided.
show.
Yeah, well, no, they decided just to not to do anymore. They just, I think it was just lack of money really, and so they
Fair
put they
enough.
put they put the trains into storage in. I heard they were in Germany.
Um, they they only left the country once in 2005 for a tour in Japan, but they were
Uh-huh.
kept in Southampton, in storage.
Were they Southampton? Was it
Yeah.
right? I don't know whether they still exist. To be honest with you.
Um, they do, but unfortunately, basically after the tour ended, they were bought apparently by the merchandising company, IVS Merchandising, and they kept held on to them for a
Uh huh.
couple years, and then they basically weren't seen again until like 2017, where they'll move to a like abandoned nuclear storage place and
Uh
just
huh.
kept there. Thomas was scrapped in 2018, and the rest of the stuff was just sold off over eBay. But a few bits and pieces didn't end up selling, so they're currently rotting away, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah, it's really sad to see.
Because it took a long, long time to develop the engines. With the
Yeah,
the BBC team, we had some really good engineers on board, and it had to. I mean, we really we made their life quite difficult because that we wanted, as to say, the trains to run on their own. They had to be able to be fairly silent, and because we didn't want, sort of big engines and things, and
yeah,
motors, and noisy motors and things. And I remember one of the chaps came up at that time. He had built himself an electric bike, and this was before
right,
electric bikes were a thing.
yeah,
He had built himself an electric bike, and he was saying, he says, I want to try and take this technology and sort of upgrade it, and it was all electric motors in the end, with
yeah,
and
yeah,
they had rubber wheels and everything, but they looked as if they were running on the tracks,
yeah,
but they were actually electric motors with rubber wheels underneath. So, and this chap was very clever. He came up with the and man and because they had to be safe, and they had to be able to brake,
yeah,
and there's so many things that they had to take into account, and had to be easy to drive really, because if it
yeah,
was actors that were going to be driving them.
yeah. Were you involved with the second tour for 2004?
Yes, I did the second
Uh,
one as well.
what was
Yeah.
it like creating the next show basically? What was it like coming up with that? Because there was a new story and everything.
New story, that's right. Yeah, and well, we kind of learned from the first one. Any little sort of low spots and things. So it was just, and also what really really excited the crowds. We had a lot more. We tried to make it a little bit more. Adventurous, a little bit more
Yeah,
adventurous, and the second time round, and we wrote music for it and all the rest of it, and had, our cast were very good. We
yeah,
had some really good people on board as drivers, and and just people.
yeah,
And the second one, we had the elephants in the second one as well,
yeah,
didn't we? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So my daughter was one of the cast members. She
Okay.
played one of the people in the cast, but she also, because she had done doodles, she did doodles on tweenies.
Yeah, yeah,
She knew how to operate. It was operated in the same way as doodles was the
yeah,
small elephant.
yeah.
So she did the small elephant as well.
Ah,
Yeah.
I've heard apparently that those elephants actually came from tweenies.
Did they come from? They came from, no, no. We got we got the small one made for the show. I'm
Oh yeah,
sure, because we based it on the kind of doodles. style. But the big one, I think I had it, I had it made for a pantomime
All right.
for the
Oh, yeah.
Belgrade Theatre for Aladdin.
Oh, okay.
And I think we hired it from Imagine Theatre who took it over. I think
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what happened. That we hired that one again, but we got it back again.
Okay.
There's two people in that, two of the
Yeah.
lads, two backstage lads in it.
Yeah. Um, After the 2004 tour, the show went over to Japan for a year. Were you involved with that at all?
No, no, I wasn't. I
Oh,
didn't know it done that really. Did
uh,
it do did it do a show?
yeah, they did. They toured for a few months. They did some like TV advertisements with the stage and the
Uh-huh.
engines, and then it came back to the UK for 2006.
Right.
Yeah,
I think
you were involved with the 2006 tour?
no, I only did the two tours really.
Ah, all right. Um, yeah. Um,
I
s-
was. I mean, I think it should have. I mean, I tried to push them. I tried to push them to do more because I thought it
yeah,
was. It certainly had legs. It certainly had life to it.
yeah. Um,
I think it was the lack of money. I think they must have got some funding to take it to Japan. I think.
yeah.
Mm.
Uh,
But
um,
yeah, it worked well. Did you
okay.
see it?
No, I was born 2 months after the 2006 tour ended, but
Oh, right.
yeah, so I've only seen it through photos and videos, unfortunately.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay. And
it's
did you say you had the promo?
yeah. Back in 2021, I heard that Dan Coleman, on his 2007 website, he had two promo videos of the Big Live tour. So I emailed him about it, and that's the one I sent you. It's the only one he's got left. He doesn't have anything
Did you
else.
send me one?
Yeah.
Did you? When did you send it, Kobe?
Um, 2 days ago.
Oh, did you? I haven't seen it.
Ah, that's
I'll
alright.
have to have a look. I haven't seen it, Kobe.
Yeah, that's alright.
Um, I didn't realize you'd sent it. Did you send it just with an email? Did you or
No,
on
I sent over Facebook.
or Facebook? That's why I don't really do Facebook much.
Ah, okay.
um, so did you send it on my Facebook?
Yeah, I sent you a link through Messenger, Facebook Messenger. Yeah.
Oh, so you're good at all these things, but
Mm,
Facebook Messenger. I don't really have it on my Messenger.
uh,
Uh,
um,
Facebook. Um,
if you send me your email later on, I can send you a copy on there.
would you do that? Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, that'd be fine.
Yeah, it'd be good to have it on my computer. Yeah,
Yeah,
I did. I thought you had my email. Sorry, Kobe. I didn't
no,
realize you did.
that's alright.
Um,
Um,
yeah, sure.
I was kind of hoping you were going to be involved with the 2006 tour, because one of my questions is apparently for 2007, the tour was going to come over here to Australia, where I am,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
but, but that never ended up happening, unfortunately.
No, that's right. We brought Tweenies to Australia,
Yeah,
but we didn't end up bringing. Was I involved in the tour? I can't remember now. What 2006 one? I don't.
yeah.
I thought. I thought it was just the two tours I did.
No, it toured up to 2006, and that was basically the end.
Uh-huh.
I I feel I've got a set of photos from 2006 of the tour with cast members. I can't remember right now, but I feel like I've seen you in one of those photos.
Maybe I was then involved.
Yeah,
2006. Yeah.
yeah. It
So,
was a long time ago by now.
I just, so so you where are you in Australia?
I'm in Melbourne.
Are you?
Yeah,
Oh, brilliant. Oh, I love Melbourne. It's lovely.
yeah.
I've been to Australia three or four times. It's been absolutely fantastic.
Okay.
As I say, we took Tweenies over there on a couple of tours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah.
Well, what time is it there then?
It's currently 9 o'clock at night.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah. I try to do around 9 o'clock for the interviews I do because it's midday for you, and it's
Yeah.
not too late for me,
Oh,
so
that's
it lines
fine.
up perfectly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
Um. Just quickly reading over like questions. Um, oh yeah, this is a one of the final questions I've got. Do you know if a professional recording of any of the Thomas Arena tours was ever made?
No, no, I don't
No.
think so. I think we just did recorded it for um, publicity, and we did record the whole show though. The whole
Yeah,
show had been recorded, but I must look through my old DVDs, which I've got in storage, Kobe, because
yeah.
there is a chance I may have a copy of it.
Oh yeah,
But I'll have to look through it and see if I do have a copy of it.
yeah.
If I do, I will send you one.
Oh yeah,
But I don't. I just don't know whether
yeah,
I do it, and that's why I asked you for the promo because I wasn't sure whether I had one or not. But
yeah.
I'll have a look through my old DVDs.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Because I've got a lot of a lot of footage of Tweenie shows and things like that.
Yeah.
So and the Thomas one may be there among it, but I'll check.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
No, at all.
Um,
So you still very much into Thomas then, and
um,
into what happens with Thomas?
yes or no. I'm more into the old show of the model trains. I like
Yeah.
seeing the behind the scenes and how they filmed with it and stuff like
Uh-huh.
that. But even then, to be truthful, my interest has kind of waned a bit in recent
Yeah.
years. I've main, the only real thing Thomas I'm really interested, funnily enough, is this Thomas Arena tour. Like,
Yeah, because it's all CGI now, really, isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's moved to 2D now, 2D animation.
That's right. Well, when I did the tour, I went to see them filming. I went to see them filming
Oh
one
yeah,
of the TV programs,
that's cool.
and they had the whole set all out there. It was all done by with
Yeah,
models, and it was fascinating watching them. It was Thomas World basically,
yeah,
uh, and because they used to do it with models and everything, it was out and stop frame animation,
yeah,
and it was much better when it was done like that, I think.
yeah, yeah,
And yeah, and it was fascinating. But when I was putting the show together, they let me go and see it. Not many people are allowed in the set to see it,
yeah,
but they let me go in and see it, and it was absolutely fantastic. It really was. I mean, the models were smashing,
yeah,
and that's why when I said to them, I says, "Look, this here, this model, this is what we need to put into the arena. We need to have
yeah,
these models made much bigger in the arena. That's where it came from, and because no one really quite knew how it should be done. But as soon as I saw the set, it was obvious. I says that we
yeah,
just need to take that and make it much bigger.
yes,
Of course, it had its problems, but
yeah,
we had a very good team of BBC engineers.
yeah.
But I think that was the last thing the BBC that department in the BBC ever did.
Yeah, they shut down in 2003 in
Yeah,
April.
I
Yeah,
think they ran. I think we nearly. I think we killed them off. I think we they ran
uh,
out of money.
yeah,
But they were a great team. They really were, and really up for it.
yeah. Did you
And
see
I used
much of the construction process of the
Yeah, I
engines?
used to go regularly. I used to go
Oh, cool.
regularly to see and see how they're going. We used to do trials of the motors when we went down the route of the electric motors and everything, and see trials of how it was done, and then how we would do the rails because we didn't want to risk running them on rails, but
Yeah,
they had to look like rails. So they run it in between the wheels, but whereas the wheels of the engines were turning and looked as if they were
yeah,
they
yeah,
were actually on the rails, um, and um, and when they were manufacturing the faces, uh, I was pushing like mad, to get motors in the faces to try and get them to move. I pushed them, just the brand manager just would not budge, would
yeah,
not budge. So, but we had they manufactured the faces, and they made quite a few of them
yeah,
for each model because there was latex,
yeah, yeah,
and so we do just in case they got damaged. But we the smoke and and all the rest of it, and the voices actually, to be honest with you, they hadn't done voices up till that point. They didn't
Yeah,
have voices because it was always just
the
a
narrator.
director.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I had to give them voices. That was another challenge. They said, voices? Yes. I said, we're going to do a show. We're going to have them as characters. They've got to speak to each other and all the rest of it. So, gosh, when I think about it, I decided what their voices were going to be like.
Should have
It was
tried. Should have tried to get your
so
hands on Ringo Starr.
yeah. Well, I couldn't get Ringo Starr to do the narration bit, so but I knew an actor who came from Liverpool and
Yeah.
sounded quite like him, so
Yeah.
I used him. We used Ray. So yeah, but it was just a lovely thing to do. It really was, and I'm so sorry I don't have. Well, I may have a copy of it, but
Yeah.
I'll check. But it was, as I say, it was one of the most exciting things I did, and one of the most satisfying things I did,
Yeah.
and it was again like so cost. It would be too costly to do these days. I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just think it'd be too costly.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah. Guess my final
And
question about.
I'm amazed,
Oh wait, what?
I'm amazed someone like yourself on the other side of the world, from a different generation, you're still interested in that show,
Yeah.
which is fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. It's mainly just because of the fact that like nothing like this will probably be ever done again. Like
No,
it's just such an advanced show for its time. Like the fact that,
yeah.
as I said, like it's an actual railway. Like and it's really
Hmm.
faithful to the TV show. Like I think you did a really
Yeah.
good job on it.
Thank you very much. And that's exactly what I wanted to try and do. I wanted to be faithful to the
Yeah.
show, to the actual show, and so I didn't want the kids coming and being disappointed.
Yeah.
I wanted them to see Thomas and James, and well, we could only afford some of the engines, but
Yeah.
and I wanted them to be exactly as they imagined them they would be. If I
Yeah.
wanted them to be better,
Yeah.
and I think everybody was taken by surprise by the fact that they moved around on their own. There's smoke coming out of it. They spoke.
Yeah.
It was people were quite amazed by how good it all fitted together.
Yeah. Um, I guess my final question for the interview: did you ever get the chance to drive any of the engines?
Yes.
Hey, yeah, awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, I got some actor people, some actor friends actually in for engine drivers and things like that.
Yeah,
But oh my goodness, yes, I had to have a go at myself, definitely. Although Nigel wasn't very happy that I
yeah,
did, you see. But I know it had to really because it was just such a it
yeah,
was it was obviously going to be a kind of. I thought it was going to be a one-off. I didn't think they would do another one.
yeah,
But we were lucky that we got the chance to do another one, which was just fun. I loved it. I mean, I loved doing all the arena shows, the Tweenie shows, and the CBB shows, and all that because
yeah,
I did all of that, and I did the Postman Pat show, and I did the Noddy show, and I did
yeah,
Bob the Builder, and all that. I did all those shows,
yeah,
but this one was most definitely the best.
yeah, yeah. It's a shame that like something like this will probably never happen again, unfortunately.
I know, I know,
Yeah.
I know, and it'd be really good to. I can't believe that no one's got a copy of it.
No, I'll be truthful. Edward Nudd, James's driver.
Yes.
I didn't want to say anything about this because he was actually going to talk to you about it. But when I did
Uh-huh.
an interview of him, he's
Uh-huh.
actually got all the music CDs. He's got a copy of the footage of the 2004 tour. He's got all the scripts, posters, and everything. And he showed
Hey.
it all to me. I didn't want
Uh,
to say anything because he said he was going to ask you about it.
uh-huh.
But yeah, so he's got a copy of all this stuff still. Yeah.
Ed, is
Yeah.
he?
Yeah,
Goodness, that's fantastic. I don't know. I haven't got any contact for Ed anymore. I don't think.
yeah,
Um, I must try and get hold of him then, because I'd love to be able to see it again and get some bits and pieces, because it's one of the things I do regret not. I mean, there are lots of things I've done. I think, well, we did it, and it's, it all happened, but that is something that I'd love to be able
yeah,
to have a copy of.
yeah.
But
There
have a
was
look.
uh,
So the 2004 one, did you say
yeah,
he
the
had?
2004 tour. I don't know if he has anything of the earlier stuff because all the CDs say Thomas Live 2, so 2 probably means the second tour.
It does, yeah.
Yeah,
So I actually Ed wasn't in the first one,
he was. He played. He
was
was.
he?
Yeah, he was in all the UK tours up until
Or was he?
2006.
Ed, was he? I'm
Yeah.
trying to remember now. Ed. I can't even remember when I first met Ed. Yeah. Oh, I really. So, what's he up to now? Do you know?
Um. Or I can't remember to be honest. I think he's working at some theatre school or something like that.
Oh
Can't.
no, I think you're right. Yes, you're right. I heard that. That's right. He was running a theatre. That's right.
Yeah. Hey.
I heard that. Um, oh, good for Ed.
Yeah.
I'll try and get hold of him. I'll try and get
Okay.
hold of him. That's what I'll do. I'll try and get hold of him, and I'll try and look out and see if I've got anything at all,
Okay.
Kobe. If it is, I'll contact you.
Yes, I'd really much appreciate that.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah. I guess. Well, the very final question I've got for you. What are you up to these days since your work on Thomas?
Yeah. I mean, since Thomas, I've done quite a few things. Like I was doing the Tweenies at the time, and we set up Wish Films as well, which we used to do some stuff with them. But I've had my own TV studio. I moved here to just near Stratford upon Avon, which is sort of centre of England, really,
Mm.
and I set up my own studio, TV studio.
Oh, cool.
So so it took me a while, but and for a number of years I've been making my own children's programs and
Yeah.
putting it on YouTube. And it's called
Yeah.
cheekychimpstv.com, and I've been doing that. But I've now this year got rid of my studio because I lost all my work during COVID, and I've
Uh.
not really been able to get my studio started again. So I've decided to lose my studio. I've kept my equipment, so I'm still going to do
Yeah.
some bits of filming. And I still do my pantomime for the Belgrade Theatre every year. I've
Yeah.
been writing that, and I perform in that as well and direct it. So I do that every year. And I've written two pantomimes for Imagine Theatre
Yeah.
uh, this year as well. And I've just been doing bits and pieces. I did Peter and the Wolf with an orchestra in Coventry. I fronted a book extravaganza. I've got a music festival I'm going to be fronting in August, things like that. So I'm just doing bits and pieces
Yeah.
now. I'm not, to be honest with you, I'm not doing as much as I used to.
Yeah.
Because I feel a
That's
little
a
bit
shame.
semi-retired. But to be honest with you, I went. I'm just thinking. I'm trying to sort of clear my feet this year of doing lots of things in the house and other things, and just getting things sorted out.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking next year I might think about really doing another project of some sort. So yeah,
That'd be
really.
really cool to see. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much, Kobe. And what do you plan to do?
Well, my current plan is to hopefully get employed, just find someone to work in. Just, I don't really have much plans at the moment outside of getting a
As what?
job.
As
I'd
what?
just work at, I don't know, department store or something. I don't have
Hmm.
much ambitions.
Do
Not now, at
you
least.
enjoy doing your podcast though?
Yeah, it's been really good fun. I've interviewed Ed, I've done Thomas's driveway, and I've done the Fat Controller. It's been really interesting, like hearing from your people's perspectives on just doing the show and just being able to experience it. It's been
So
really
did you speak to
fascinating.
Percy?
Yeah, the Fat Controller, Percy
Yeah.
Copley.
Did
Yeah,
you speak to him?
yeah,
Because he's spent a lot of years in France.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
And Percy, yeah, I kept up with him for a while, but I haven't heard from him for a while. I don't know what he's up to, but yeah, and was it Martin?
Yeah,
Martin,
Martin. Yep.
yeah, yeah. Oh, lovely. Oh, you've spoken to them, have you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
that's fantastic.
I'm hoping to interview a few more people, such as Dan Coleman,
Yeah.
Will Brenton, and I'm
Hmm.
trying to get a hold of Chris Reynolds, who was in charge of building the trains and supervising that
That's
project.
right.
Yeah, but I've emailed them a
Yeah.
few times, but um, haven't heard much. So
You should maybe try and get hold of Nigel
um,
Mosley, who production managed it, because he'd be interesting to speak to. Nigel still does a lot of big stuff.
cool.
Um, so you should maybe I'll send you his. I think I've got still got his email.
Oh, yeah.
I'll send you his email address.
Okay, I'd really
No,
much appreciate that. Yeah.
yeah, not at all. And I'm just thinking, was it who else was involved? You might want to speak to. If you've spoken to Martin and Percy, um, yeah, I'll have a think anyway and see if I'll see if I'll get any other emails
Okay.
of this demo as well. This, if you could, I'll send you my email as well.
Okay.
If you could maybe email me the demo, Kobe, that'd be fantastic. All
Yes,
right.
I shall. Yeah. Thank you so much for
Oh,
taking
that's
the
great.
time to speak with me about this.
Not at
Yeah.
all.
Hope you have a great
It's
day, Ian.
nice to speak to you too, and I
Yes,
wish
you
you
too.
all the best. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much,
I'll
Ian.
hopefully speak to you soon, Kobe. All
Yeah.
right.
All right. See you, Ian.
Bye.
See ya.